T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff.
Coach on Fire Radio.
I am the tiger, dancing through the fire. I am the champion, and you're gonna hear me roar.
Well, good afternoon. It's Sarah Shakespeare here with Coach on Fire Radio. Very, very happy to have you listening tonight. Well, today I am the guest of my own show. As you know, if you follow me regularly on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, you know that I've had this show for quite a few months and I have the most amazing guests on each week. I feel extremely lucky to have had the opportunity to interview some amazing people since I started my show last July 2017. And I've had the most amazing people. And every time I have a new guest on the show, the concept behind the show is always helping people create a life that you love. So it's very, very important to me, the people that come onto the show always have something to give, to share, to offer, so that anybody that's listening to the show, they're sitting back, making notes and walking away with more than what they arrived with. So every few weeks, I am the guest of my own show so that I can share with you some information I have for you, some advice, some ideas. So the show today, if you've seen the title of the show, is How Are Those New Year's Resolutions Going? So it is March the 20th and we are around 10 weeks into the new year. And I just want to check in with everyone to see how it's going with the plan that you had in January. Now, a few years ago, I stopped making New Year's resolutions because I didn't want to wait until January to make a change in any area of my life. So I started making just regular changes. If there's something that I wanted to change, then I would just change it tomorrow. So that's what I did. Or if it was a weekend, okay, I'll do it on Monday. So what I decided to do was not make New Year's resolutions anymore. But I realized that it's still a big, big thing to do where people get to the end of the year, or even sometimes when they're in October, they say, okay, when it gets to the new year, I'm going to be doing something. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to put it into practice. And then when the weeks go by and the months go by, a lot of times when you go back and ask people how it's going, it hasn't always gone to plan. So today, that's what I'm going to go over. I've got a lot of things that I would love to cover today and help you just create that life that you love. Now, I started this show in July 2017, and when given the opportunity to have this show, I used the name Create a Life You Love because I didn't just want a health and fitness show. That is my background, that is the industry that I'm in, but I wanted to be able to get people listening to more than just a health and fitness show. I wanted them to listen to something that would help them with life. And I also realize now, at my age in life, that creating a life you love doesn't necessarily mean it's the same life that everybody else wants to live and create for themselves. So I'm really, really into people creating a life that they love on their terms and whatever that means to them. So just because your brother's living one way, or your sister's doing something, or your best friend is doing something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you think that life is the best life that you could create. So that's what I want to go over tonight. I want to check in about these New Year's resolutions. So when you got to January, you made a list and you thought, okay, I'd like to do this, this, and this. But think about how you put that list together. Did you put the list together with a lot of thought in mind? Did you put it together with goals that are relevant for you? They make you get where you want to get? Or did you make goals based on what other people think that you should do? So that's what I'd like you to do. Think about point one. Were these goals absolutely personal to you? Think about that. If they weren't, it's only March. You've got time to shovel them around the other way. Take them the other way and say, okay, this is what I would like to do. Another thing which is really, really helpful, I believe that you need to write your goals down so you can see them. Just so that it's, not all talk and no action. You need to write your goals down, look at them, and just see what they mean to you. Also, give yourself a time span to get them. A lot of people are not executing patience at all, and they're saying, I want to get this done in 4 weeks. Now, something that you're trying to undo in 4 weeks, did it take you 4 weeks to actually put that in place in the first place? So this, for instance, I'm going to use a diet as an example. When people want to lose a massive amount of weight in a short amount of time. Now, just because you gained that weight in a short amount of time, it doesn't mean you can lose that weight in a short amount of time. So think about how you got somewhere in the first place, how long it took to get there, and think about the plan to get that back. So do also think about where you share your plan. Do you need to have accountability, or do you need to keep that plan private? Now, that would be whether or not you've got a good support system around you. So if you have people that support the goal and the plan, you will get the best enthusiasm, because they'll say, come on, you need to do this. Come on, you need to do that. You're going to get the best enthusiasm. But if you've got people in your corner that are not supporting the plan, sometimes it's okay to keep that plan a little bit under your hat. So you can say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I've planned this out. Then you need to look at how you can put that plan into action. How much time is it going to take to do? How much dedication do you need each week to do it? How will that fit into your day? How will it fit into your week? So you need to break every single thing down day by day. Because it's no good saying in January, well, I want to get this done by the end of January. You need to see how all of those 4 weeks fit in for you. Then the next 4 weeks and the next 4 weeks. Now, if you've worked with me previously, you know I talk about the 52-week plan. And I break everything down into 52 weeks and say, what are you going to accomplish in the next 52 weeks? And honestly, it gives you so much hope, and at the same time, so much planning can go into it for you to succeed. Often when you say, well, it's 12 months, that looks like such a rush for some people, and they get to month 3 and say, I haven't accomplished anything. Yet at week 12, if they dissected it down, they may have accomplished a lot at week 12. So think about how that is with you. How are you putting everything together? What pressure are you putting on yourself? And what support system do you have in place? It's really, really important for that. Also, it's okay when you're goal setting to fall off the wagon. A lot of the time people say, well, I fell off that and I didn't get back onto it. But honestly, it's okay to fall off and have a look, reassess and say, okay, let's get back on with this goal. That could be a fitness goal. It could be a life goal. It could be a location goal. You may want to move somewhere. You may want to be doing something in a different job environment. Think about what the actual goal is. Think about concentrating on that one thing and getting that one thing done. Now, as a goal setter, and as I've helped people in their life set different goals for themselves, I've been setting goals my whole life. And I was brought up in a really great environment as a child, where I was encouraged to put my mind to something. I'm able to achieve anything I put my mind to. That was instilled in me at a very, very young age. So I've been goal setting from a very young age. And I know some people haven't been. So it's brand new to them to say, I want to be able to do this at this time. And this is what I'm going to do to get there. So write it down. Think about your support system that you have around you. Think about whether it's a goal that you really, really want to attain. Think about how much time you're going to give yourself to get there. And also, I really don't like the word failure. It's just such a sad word. I love to use the word setback. So instead of saying I failed at that, I never say that to a client. I always say, okay, we had this setback. What are we going to do with it? How are we going to change it? How are we going to get back up and move forward from that? So I want you to think about that today. You know, we are in March 2018, and you may not have got quite as far along with the goals as you thought you would. But on the upside, you've still got a long, long way to go in this year. Another thing is, if you know, when I say as my title today, how are those New Year's resolutions going? Well, if they're going exceptionally well, I want to congratulate you and say well done for staying focused, having a good game plan, putting your plan into action. One thing we can do with goal setting when we want to achieve so much, and I've been guilty of this along different times in my life, is trying to do too many things at once, where you're going, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And sometimes they only get done half-heartedly. So can you really do 3 big goals at 100%? I don't know if you can. So think about what time and effort you want to put in and prioritize which goal is more pressing for you to achieve. So think about that as well. So if you've really, really done well in your goals until now, very, very happy to hear that. Congratulate yourself. Reward yourself. I always talk to people about rewarding yourself for something on the other side of success. Don't just let it pass by like it means nothing. And celebrate as you see fit. If that means it's a dinner out, if it means it's a holiday, or if it means it's a new moisturizer from the mall, that's your little reward, then do that. It doesn't have to make you bankrupt. It doesn't have to make you overdrawn. It doesn't have to make you celebrate with the whole street where it costs you so much money to do. It could be something small. It could even be something that doesn't cost any money. You could say to yourself, okay, I've accomplished this goal and I haven't been for a walk by the lake for a long time. I'm going to give myself that 2 hours off and I'm going to go for a beautiful walk with my headphones on, great music, and that's going to be your reward because maybe you haven't done anything like that for a long time. And that is a free walk around a free lake. So think about how you want to reward yourself on the other side. And then think about what's next for you. How are you going to reset some new goals? What do they mean to you? What's next from the goal that you've put together already? So think about that. Think about what you would like to do next, how far you've come with this. And if you have fallen off the wagon and you think, oh, I just can't get this back on, what you need to really do is look to see whether or not it's a goal that really suits you anyway. Is it something that you should be doing? Now, if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you know a lot of the things that I talk about is motivation. And I talk a lot about, I have lots of motivational sayings that I post every day. And lots of the videos that I make as well are all geared around motivation and a positive mindset. So I also want to touch on that tonight. I don't want to talk about any goal setting without thinking about how a positive mindset helps you reach those goals. Now, if you start setting things up in life and you say, I'm not going to be able to do that, how would I be able to do that? That's not going to work for me. It isn't, because your negative mindset is going to set you back every single time. So I would like you to think about how things would be if you had a positive mindset and you said first before last. I wonder how that would be if I looked on the bright side of life. Now, luckily, I've had the positive mindset instilled in me as a very, very young child. So I've been lucky enough to live through my life with a positive mindset. Now, at times in my life, I've been told that I live with my head in the clouds or my head in the sand, and that I'm not a realist, and that thinking with a positive mindset isn't the way to go. But I have to say, I've ignored that up in the clouds and head in the sand type of concept, and I always look on the good side of things before I look on the bad. And I'm not saying things haven't ever turned bad. I'm just saying that I always look on the bright side first. I always come from a place of love before a place of hate, and I always think that something's going to turn out great before I think it's going to turn out awful. So think about that. Think about how important a positive mindset is. And, you know, that has a lot to do with the people that you hang around with. I talk a lot about people's top 5 in their life. It actually is your top 10, because your top 5 people could actually be your family, and they may not always support what you're doing in a positive manner. So step out of that circle for a little bit and go to the next 5 people behind them. So it may sometimes turn into your top 10, and see how your 5 people behind them are supporting you. And if they're not, it's time to reassess. I have a very good friend who, over the years, he has said to me, oh, I've just had a clear out this year, Sarah. And at first, a few years ago, I used to think, what does he mean, a clear out? But it meant that at the beginning of each year, he would assess how well people were doing for him in his life, and whether or not he would continue that year ahead with those people in his life. And every time I said, oh, you've had a clear out then, he's like, yep, and I feel good. So think about that. Is it time for you to have a clear out where you go, okay, this person isn't good for me. This group of people are setting me back on where I need to go. This set of people do not believe in me. It's so important that people in your life believe in you and believe that you're able to achieve anything that you put your mind to. So I want you to really assess the people that you keep your company with. As a mother of 3 daughters, I've always very, very closely watched my children's relationships with other children. And, you know, we never ever want our children to be around anyone that's a bad influence to them. We also look at our own children and think, okay, is my child being a bad influence on the other way? And we always talk about an influence. And then as adults, we forget what we were taught as kids, and we go into situations where people are a bad influence, or we influence them in a different way. So think about that. If you want to achieve something amazing, do have a look at the company that you keep and whether or not being around people that are positive for you is going to be the way to go. I am very lucky in my life that I've been able to meet people that have a very, very positive influence on me. And so I make it my business constantly to only mix in, I guess, the circles of people that are good for me, that have a positive mindset also, and are goal-driven. Like, I'm very, very motivated and goal-driven. And I think being a personal trainer and coach for so many years, you have to be. You can't be unmotivated and lazy and tired if you're asking people to be the opposite of that. So I feel